there's three main topics for me in terms of a CV, and three main things that people look for. And if you cover these 3 points, you should be fine. CV is just there to get you through the door. This should get your foot in the door. First point is around your personal summary, personal profile. It's one of the first things that people jump to. And if you're going to write a personal profile, make it emotive, make it personal, make it engaging will be the message there. So don't be afraid about getting your personality across. That's the whole reason to have a personal profile at the top. That's one of the first places that people look. The other place that people look is qualifications. It's one of the first places they go to, particularly in health and safety. So one of the first things they will do is go to your qualifications. Do you match the criteria for the role? So secondly, make them easy to find. Don't bury your qualifications in job profiles or in job summaries. Make it nice and clear, qualifications, and make it nice and easy to find. Thirdly would be your job title and the companies you work for. People are nosy, they like to know the companies you work for, particularly if it's a direct competitor. My suggestion there would be make your job title very clear, very easy to distinguish as to what it is that you do. A very brief summary of the company, so it's not always clear as to what a company does. I've been around the block a long time. I like to think I know what most companies do, but again, even today, there's people I've spoken to who work for companies I've never heard of. So 2 or 3 lines just on what the company does, brief summary, and then into responsibilities, but even more so into achievements. And talk about I, not we. People want to know what you've achieved, not necessarily what the company's achieved. Brief summary overview, and then go into your achievements. Preparation's key. If you're going to meet an interviewer, you can not only do background checks on the company and absolutely do your research. The worst thing that can happen is you turn up to an interview, the first question they ask is, what do you know about a company? And you kind of stutter and mumble your way through that. So make sure you do research on the company. More so now with social media, you can check up on the individual themselves. Again, it's not stalking. There's nothing illegal about checking out an interviewer's profile on LinkedIn. And actually, it's one of the things we recommend is we send that link across to the individual as well. Once you're in the interview, just be yourself. I think people talk about having an interview game face and trying to come across a certain way. Absolutely, they want you to be professional, but just be the best version of you that can be. Don't try and be something that you're not. Actually, you're at that interview because of what you've achieved personally in your previous roles. So trying to play a role with someone else, unless you're a phenomenally good actor going for an acting role, then I suggest you just be yourself. Absolutely, questions. Go in there prepared with questions. I've been told many times in the past it's going to be a 2-3 stage interview process, and actually they make a decision after one. And actually, if you'd offered a job after one interview stage, if you hadn't asked any questions, would you feel comfortable actually making an assessment as to whether that's the right job for you? So go in there with all the questions you want to have answered to make an informed decision as to whether it's the right role for you. Worst case scenario, it's not, but you look like you're very interested in the role by the questions you've asked. It's in visibility. I think safety practitioners for probably too long now are guilty of doing great work, but not shouting about it, and I mean internally and externally. So over the last couple of years, we've seen some personalities, if you want to call them that, come to the fore in the safety industry, which I think is a great thing because it's getting the industry noticed. But the first step is to do that internally. So if there are opportunities, whether it's internal newsletters, whether it's internal email systems, just to talk about the good work that the safety team or you as a safety practitioners doing, that's not seen as banging your own drum or self promotion. It matters to everyone who works in that organisation as to how well the safety team and the business is performing from a safety perspective. So don't be afraid to bang the drum. And in terms of what that does for you personally, that has a huge impact on your profile internally, and certainly when you're going for your next job in terms of the references. If you're highly visible in that organisation, you're much likely to get better references. Externally, go back to social media. It's not for everyone. So again, don't force yourself onto these platforms if they don't resonate with you. But there's certainly some personalities in the safety sector who probably 2-3 years ago were not as well known as they are now, but they're active on Twitter, they're active on LinkedIn, and actually they've got something to say. So as I say, don't just go on there and pass comment and be confrontational for the sake of it, but actually if you've got something meaningful and worthwhile to say, then let it be heard, because the safety industry needs people with voices. Someone new into the industry is again to look for all the avenues out there in terms of networking and building a network of professionals within the industry. One of the reasons we set up our own networking group, not to promote that, but a couple of years ago, was for that very reason. Ours do a great job on that front. You know, NEBOSH, we've actually run events in partnership with NEBOSH, the Safety and Health Expo, the conference. There are lots of opportunities, but not as many as there are in other industries. And actually, you know, the onus is on you as a safety professional to try and give yourself as many opportunities as possible. As a new entrant, that's always the challenge. How do I get my first role? Well, it's kind of catch-22. You know, do you pay out for the qualification first? Do you get yourself in with the company and then hope that they will assist you on that front? There's no magic answer to that, but the more opportunities and the more avenues you give to yourself to engage with safety professionals, the better. Social media is huge on that front as well. You know, LinkedIn's free, Twitter's free, as are all the other social media platforms, so use those to your advantage. This is something that I'm a big believer in. That said, it's not easy to find a mentor, so that's probably the first challenge is where to identify one from. Internally in your own company, that's obviously the first route. The advantages, I think, they're just huge. You know, you can't buy experience, as they say, and actually that's essentially what you're doing with a mentor program is you are absorbing all of the information and all the knowledge that somebody's gained over the years of experience. I'm a big believer, though, that mentoring goes two ways. There's something that's kind of been talked of in the industry for the last couple of years, which is reverse mentoring. So that's CEOs, safety directors being mentored by what would normally be deemed quite junior members of their business. And they gain as much from that relationship as the mentee, if you like, and it's absolutely a two-way street. So particularly, you know, technology, I'm not saying CEOs aren't au fait with all of the technology out there, but actually, you know, it's absolutely a two-way conversation, and the advantages are huge. You know, the advantages for somebody who's reasonably new to the industry, for an opportunity to kind of sit and absorb the information that someone's gained over the years can only be a good thing.